Hello, note takers. Welcome back to the On a Real Note podcast. This is Noah Aaron.
And this is Aiden, and I did get fired from my job at Runway, but I am not taking questions about it.
Now, did you get fired or did you quit? Because,
Well, they got rid of the global DEI director position, so
well, I,
Miranda said something about a diversity job and a
oh,
quota, but then her lovely, very gorgeous assistant, Miss
okay,
Miss
okay, Amari.
Miss
Uh,
Amari. I was gonna call that girl Aisha. I don't know where I got that name from.
well, I think that's a fine name too. That's a fine name too.
Amari just offered me my settlement and said it was better if I just signed it and left the building.
Well, let's enter this building and talk about this damn movie because today we're going to be talking about the new movie, The Devil Wears Prada 2. This is a very highly anticipated sequel to the original movie. I mean, the original movie is very much like iconic. It's this big fixture in pop culture. And it's this year 20 years old. So crazy enough, 2 decades have passed and we're finally getting a sequel, which for a long time it seemed like this was one of those movies that would just never have a sequel.
Right?
Um, Both I think just because I almost feel like when a movie is iconic as the first one, there's like a fear of touching it and like creating a disappointment or a movie that's just going to bomb or whatever. Mixed with the
Hmm.
fact that it's kind of hard to get this many A-listers that are involved in this franchise together for a movie and a project. Um, and also, like, I don't think Meryl Streep has ever confirmed this, but I've always heard these things about how Meryl Streep doesn't like to do sequels to her movies. And when I looked at her filmography, I was
That's
like,
true.
oh, she really hasn't done like, really, the only movies she's done sequels for have been, like, Mamma Mia and this.
Damn. And
Yeah.
those are like some of the biggest franchises she's been in probably, so that kinda
Yeah.
makes sense. But does
Yeah.
that mean I could hold off for Death Becomes Her too?
Yeah, I don't think we're getting that.
Well, Goldie Fawn's alive, right?
Goldie Hawn is alive, yes, she
Oh,
is.
Han.
Did you call her
Oh.
Goldie Fawn?
Maybe. Next topic.
Next topic, yes, next topic. Well, so, yeah, today we're gonna kinda be getting into the movie, we're gonna be talking a it's gonna be a mixture of things, so we're gonna kind of reflect back on the original movie just a little bit, we're gonna talk about the new movie, we're gonna talk about kind of our main characters and where they were in this movie, where we found them, what their kind of development and arcs were, we're gonna talk about the side characters we liked, we're gonna kinda go over whether or not this was, like, maybe a worthy sequel, and, of course, this is not a spoiler-free review, so if you have not seen the movie yet, which it's been out for like 10 days as of this recording,
You're
so it's
saying
very
that like it's
possible you haven't
long.
seen it yet. But if you
I
have
mean, I came from it
today,
literally an
yeah,
hour before recording, so
yeah, I saw it on Saturday, just a few days ago. So I
and
mean,
I
if
was
you
in the second row, honey. It was like it's so stellar, so
I think
give
that's what
people some time. If you need to come back next week, come
yeah,
back next week
right, if you yeah, but that's
or
just
in a
your
few
heads up,
days,
because we are not gonna be shying away from mentioning major
right?
plot points, talking about major moments. So, yeah, if you wanna go in spoiler free, pause this and visit us, later once you've gotten a chance to
Yeah,
see the movie.
on the train or the car ride back from the theater.
Right, that's a good time to listen to it, or the walk if, you're living like that. Um, but yeah, Aiden,
Why you
let's start
cackling?
with talking about, rewinding it 20 years to the first movie, The Devil Wears Prada, which came out in
Mm.
2006. It was based on the novel that had came out a few years earlier, allegedly. Allegedly, it's about the original book is about our girl about our girl
Our girl,
our girl from the you know
Miss
who.
Bob, Miss Bob,
Miss Bob in sunglasses. Um, but yeah,
right?
so as far as the original movie goes, I don't feel like we've ever had a conversation about the original movie.
I don't think so.
Mm,
I just assumed we both seen it because we're two gay boys, but
right. And it's
I
like,
definitely
oh,
have seen it in my childhood. Yes, it is
yeah.
iconic, and I had an older sister who watched pretty much like all those kinda rom-com themed movies that would,
Mhm.
air on those little movie channels, and it'd be a little
Yeah.
event. I would tune in, and I just remember Devil Wears Prada was one that, like, hooked me in at a younger age. I was like, "Oh, this is kind of enticing." You're following the story, they're a little
Yeah.
mean to her, and of course, I feel like Anne Hathaway has, like, you know, recognizance, is that the
Mhm.
best word to use? With our
Yeah.
generation. Just from Princess Diaries, I feel like they aired her,
Right.
like, on Disney Channel all the time. That little commercial of her, like, stepping on the bleachers and falling, I can see that in my memory because I feel like Disney Channel just played it all the damn
They
time.
love that
So,
movie.
I feel some attachment to Anne Hathaway. I love me some Anne
Mhm.
Hathaway. Like, I think I love Anne Hathaway so much, I don't even remember that hate train she got for her Les Miserables Oscar campaign,
Yeah.
but she still won, so
Right? It didn't work.
she won, right? Yeah, it didn't
They
work.
they didn't they didn't Timothy her, they didn't Chalamet her out.
Ooh, ooh. But no, I enjoyed The Devil Wears Prada. It's not one of my favorite go-to movies. I'm not a big
Mhm.
fashion person, but I think, it hits the beats. And I
Yeah.
definitely think it's part of, one of the movies that made me think that I could graduate college in 2019 and be a journalist in New York, which is what I wanted to do in high school.
Uh-huh.
But along the way, I ended up majoring in business. I don't know what happened.
Mhm. Well, capitalism got in the way, and that's okay. Uh,
Wow. Yeah.
but, yeah, no, Devil Wears Prada for me, it was similar thing just from childhood. I just remember, like, seeing it around, I don't think I went and saw the original in theaters, but definitely, like, watched it on DVD. Definitely
Not
watched it when it was on
VHS? Not
TV and whatnot.
VHS?
Yeah, VHS. That no, I don't were they still making VHSs in 2006?
Probably not.
Yeah,
VHS is more given Rugrats in Paris,
right, the little orange VHS.
right? I bet
Uh,
everyone had that.
but, yeah, and it's one of those movies I wouldn't say I, like, watch it a lot, but I feel like every few years or so, I'll put it on just to revisit.
Right?
It's one of those movies for me, like, I don't know, like,
Right?
I'll have it on in the background while I'm doing something, or I'm like, "Oh, Imma put this
Mhm.
on while I'm on the walking path."
Right?
Um,
Or if I was on a plane, I saw Devil Wears Prada, I'd be like, "Okay." Or,
yeah,
like, in a hotel, flipping through the channels, and, like, Devil Wears Prada, like, just started. I'd be
yeah,
okay. I'd probably turn on Made in Manhattan before Devil Wears Prada, but I appreciate it.
okay, well, see, I think I'm the opposite. I think I'd probably put on, Devil Wears Prada before any Jennifer Lopez movie, but that's just me. Uh,
I know she eats out in Made in Manhattan. I feel like she should, that's her bag, the little rom-coms.
she should've stuck to that. I just remember her and Jane Fonda did that movie Monster-in-Law.
Ooh, I remember that. I don't think I saw it, but I can, like, imagine the
I have,
poster.
like, vague memories of it, but yeah, no, the Devil Wears Prada overall, I think for me, especially because I am someone like I really do, I'm not, like, super into fashion. I'm not like, I don't run, like, a lookbook page on Instagram or anything like that. But, or anything, any of that business, but I do like fashion. I like seeing what's going on. I like looking at, like, what celebrities wear the red carpets. I like looking at some of the runway shows, like, what
Mhm,
people are doing. So I've always kind of liked fashion a little bit, and so The Devil Wears Prada, it was a fun movie for me. It's campy, it's got the fashion,
mhm,
it's got, like, that very kind of, like, funny, dry sense of humor to it, and a little bit cynical. And yeah, I don't know, I just always enjoyed it, and
mm.
so
Same. I just enjoyed, like, also as a child, it's like a movie about a quirky girl going to work, you know? I
right,
just
yeah,
I was sold every time.
right, and I think, like, Meryl Streep in this movie, or in the original movie, she plays, like, the nightmare boss, like, so perfectly, it's insane, like, how well she just, like, has it down, you know?
Right? And it was natural.
Yeah,
And then just, like, the franticness of everything, and I think
yeah,
just that's when journalism was at its peak, so to speak, so
yeah,
it's not a surprise that that was shown as, like, an idealistic career at the time, and that's why every
mhm,
movie kind of had this journalist in New York.
yeah,
And
absolutely.
one scene I always remember is when Miranda is dragging Andy, like, "You think you're not making a fashion decision, but that was chosen for you off the rack at TJ Maxx."
See,
And I was like, "Damn, that's me,
well,
shooting shit
see
off the
that
rack at TJ Maxx."
I wanted to reference that scene today because I really for this, I wanted to wear a cerulean sweater, um, and one of those little newsboy caps that Anne liked to wear in the first movie, but I don't own either of
Them
those
damn
things,
hats, them
so I wore red instead in honor of our girl Miranda being the devil. Um,
not the
but
devil.
the devil, honey. What what did Joanna say? Joanna Krupa after eight in her confessional after Adriana hit her on Miami, she's the devil turned around and I saw the devil's face and the devil punched me.
She was always one for the dramatics.
Right? Very theatrical, very theatrical.
You know those
But
Sagittariuses.
I'm curious because like that's like a memorable moment for you. In the original movie, did you have a favorite character?
Not really, I mean, probably Andy. It's not one I rewatched a lot that I would be
Yeah,
like, no, be like, I love them, I love seeing them, but I think I was attached to the main character, her quirkiness, so to speak.
yeah,
And Anne Hathaway, I appreciate me some Anne Hathaway.
yeah. Yeah, no, Anne Hathaway, she's easy to love in my opinion. I I always liked, Emily, the character Emily, I mean, as well as the actress,
Of course you did.
but no, Emily was always my favorite as a kid, like, I don't know why, I thought she was just so funny,
I just remember when I was younger, I'd be like, "Why does girl wanna go to Paris so damn bad?"
right? She I like,
But,
she
you
really
know,
wants a Paris trip. Well, and she if you go to Paris, you get free couture outfits.
right, you do get to wear couture, but Imma say you working the whole time. Do you even get your own hotel room? Or you just have to lay on Miranda's couch? Well, I'm sure Miranda don't want that, so
Yeah, no, I think if I remember correctly, I think Andy, when they went to Paris, she got her own hotel room.
I
Um,
know, I just want it to be messy, I just want
you
it to be messy.
you do love a little mess, but, m
Sometimes, sometimes.
well, moving on to
I
our
guess
new
I did
movie.
like me some Nigel.
Oh, Nigel, yeah.
Nigel was fun.
No, I agree. I always like Nigel. And I mean Stanley Tucci, he's just great. He's like I've never like seen him in something and been disappointed.
Right, he always brings his best performance and
Yeah,
looks classy. And
yeah,
now I'm thinking that like, "Oh, the guy from True Jackson VP, they were copying Nigel."
right. They want that Nigel ass wannabe bitch,
And Emily was Amanda, that old ass lady who was trifling on this teenager. But I know if some middle schooler took my job, I'd be I'd be
yeah,
mad too, so
yeah. No, I'd be like, excuse me, like I'd be like, I went to school with this. I did unpaid internships. I broke my back to get to this role, and now this little teenage girl is the VP,
just gallivanting around with her friends after school.
right?
First
Like
of all, the school
uh-uh.
day ends at 3, the workday ends at 5, she has to commute. We'll get into that later.
Right. Oh, are we gonna do a True Jackson VP retrospective?
We
Um,
we might need to. It might be what the world needs to heal right now
right. It
in
might
these
be
tough
necessary.
economic times because I will say usually a sequel with this level of stars, you think the script will be strong, but I think Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway just needed a check.
Right. Ooh, well, yeah, let's get
Well, I
into
don't
it.
think
Let's
Meryl Streep needed a check, but you know what I
She
mean.
wanted it. She wanted
She
it.
wanted it.
But yeah, let's get into The Devil Wears Prada 2. So, overall, I think for me, when they first announced that there was gonna be a sequel, because like I said earlier, it's been 20 years since the original. So when they first announced there was gonna finally be a sequel, I think initially I was a little hesitant about it. I was like, "Ooh, ooh." I was like, well, because I think in my mind, I was wondering how they would do it, especially because I was like, it's
Right?
been so long. I feel like the original movie also, I feel like it's such a time capsule and a product of its time. Like, it comments on so much of what was going on at the time that I was kinda
Mhm.
like, how's it gonna look, doing this today? Um, which we'll get into it later, but I actually think they did a good job at adapting, like, kind of to the tone of today, while still keeping the
I
movie kind of
agree.
feeling like a true sequel to the original.
Mhm.
But I did get more confident when they announced, that, Meryl Streep, Anne Hathaway, Stanley Tucci, and Emily Blunt, that all, 4 of them were all coming back. 'Cause, like, originally, I was thinking, I was like, "Oh, are we gonna get Meryl and Anne, and it's just gonna be a bunch of new people?" So when I heard that, like, we were getting, like, the whole, like, core 4 of the original movie back, I was like, "Okay, that gives me some more confidence."
Right? No, it definitely was a nice tie together having them all. I kind of
Mhm.
expected Nigel, but I was like, "Is Emily?" I guess I didn't never put together that Emily was Emily Blunt. And like I was telling you before we recorded, I mostly knew Emily Blunt by, like, name, not really face. So to me, it's like, okay, Emily Blunt is John Krasinski's wife. Like, I know that as, like, something
Mhm.
I've read on the internet, but I didn't put together that was a Oh, Devil Wears Prada, Mean Girl Emily.
Yeah.
But,
Well, it's
she lost the blue eyeshadow this time and done got a glow up, but I know when I heard it announced, I was like, "Okay, I'll probably go see this," but I don't really have much feeling. I was just like, "This is the kind of IP that Hollywood would greenlight now," because
right.
I thought most
Well
people were like, I'll see it. It doesn't have to be that great."
well, I think we're kind of in the era of, like, because I feel like, in the past, we've had, like, in past decades and stuff, we've had, like, the eras of, like, rapid fire sequels where, like, the moment a movie is successful, we gotta franchise it. We gotta have a sequel every year, every other year, to, varying degrees of quality.
Yeah.
And we've been in the era of remakes before, where it's like, especially, like, in the 2000s and stuff, it's like every classic movie needs to be remade for a modern audience.
Mhm.
We had the era of requels. We had where it's like, we're gonna ignore the sequels we don't like, and we're gonna promote this as, like, just a direct follow-up to the original. And I feel
I
like
like the audacity of requels. I like the audacity of
right. I
requels.
mean, it's fun. But I feel like right now we're very much in an era of, like, of like the rebooting of those like kind of like classic, like TV shows, movies, media that's kind of been that's kind of been inactive for a long time for several decades. We're kind of like, okay, we're gonna follow up on that
Yeah.
now. With The Devil Wears Prada, we've seen the last few years like a lot of older TV shows get the reboot treatment, and
Right.
get revisited.
Yeah, like,
We've
whether
seen,
it's the old characters or just whole new people in the same
yeah,
format, they've been running that up, and it's
yeah,
kinda tiring, especially sometimes if the show from the '70s I never heard of, like Night Court, I'm like, "Sure, I'll give it a try." I never watched Night Court, I think I watched an episode, but, I was like, "Okay, reboot." Like, I
yeah,
don't mind if it's that old of a reboot that you're kind of introducing something newer to a generation,
yeah.
but maybe I just feel old because if it's something I remember, I'm like, "Does this need a reboot?"
Right. When I feel like to me, like when it comes to like if we're gonna bring something back if we're gonna follow up on something that's like older, that's been a while ago and stuff, like to me, it needs to not obviously all of them are cash grabs, like that's just the nature of the business, but it needs to not feel like a cash grab. Like it needs to feel like this needs to have a reason to exist. It's kind of like um, with the Sex and the City reboot and just like that. Like, I didn't watch all of it. I watched like maybe a couple of episodes and I was like, this just doesn't feel like it has any purpose of like being here. It feels like y'all just wanted to bring this back and milk some more money out of this franchise. Uh,
Well, I think some of them probably just needed work. I mean, I
right.
don't know. Well, Charlotte, I forgot that lady name. Was she working? I don't really see her in
Kristen
things.
Davis.
Kristen Davis. I see her podcast, but I don't really see her in
Oh,
work.
are you a Charlotte?
Now you know damn well I know Charlotte.
Let's say no, you're a Miranda and sometimes a Carrie.
Yeah. I'm not gonna deny that.
But, but yeah, like, I feel like we've just been in that trend lately, and honestly, like, I feel like even though I was, like, excited for this movie to come out, 'cause, like, "Oh, I wanna see a Devil Wears Prada 2 like, I wanna see that. Even though I was excited, there was a part of me that, like, all the way up until I actually went and watched it, like, I did think, I was like, "This is just gonna be a cash grab. This is gonna be, like, nostalgia bait." But, like, after watching it, I have my pros, my cons, my praise, my criticism, and whatnot of the movie. But overall, I do feel like this movie felt like it had a reason to exist, and I felt like they did kind of do some interesting things with it and kind of advanced the storylines of our characters that came back. So I would say honestly, bravo to them for like making something that didn't necessarily just feel like a cash grab.
Yeah, I will agree that it didn't feel like a cash grab, but I
Yeah.
don't necessarily think this movie, like, needed to exist after
Right.
watching it. I was watching like, "Alright, like, this was cute. Devil
Yeah.
Wears Prada." It was just giving Devil Wears Prada 2. I don't
Yeah.
know how else to explain it other than that,
Yeah.
but like, it wasn't Revolu like, Anna's not getting an Oscar for this, but she has hers. She don't really I don't think she cares.
Right. Well,
It
I
was
think
cute.
Meryl for the original, I don't think she got the Academy Award, but I think she got an Academy Award nomination for the original.
Right? But this was just giving them having fun, like, "Oh, we wanna go on location to Milan." And
Yeah,
I bet the 4 of them got together like, "We're gonna run them up. If they really want this movie, we're
right.
gonna get paid. We going on location." I
Well,
think they just had no it was giving having fun with your old coworkers, you know?
right. Well, I would be curious to know, like, what the salaries were for this just because, I remember that kind of, like, very, like, iconic interview that people like to talk about with Meryl Streep where she was talking about how, like, because she didn't say numbers, but she basically said that for the original Devil Wears Prada, they came to her with an offer, and she said no, and then asked
Mm.
for double what they offered her, and then they said yes, like, right away.
Oh, damn. She shoulda
Yeah,
asked for
so
more. Shoulda
I'd be
asked for
curious to know
more.
what yeah, I'd be curious to know, like, what she actually got paid for that one and then what she got paid for this one.
Right? I'm sure she went to the bag. I know
Yeah.
Anne loves to tell that story how she was, like, the ninth choice for Andy
Yeah,
originally, which is so crazy to imagine because I mean, she is Andy to us, so we watched it.
right, I can't yeah, that's the thing is I feel like with all 4 of our main characters, and we'll get more into, like, specifics with the characters later, but I feel like with all 4 of our main characters, like, I really can't imagine anyone else playing these characters. Like, I feel like they all just are their characters, like, in such a perfect way.
I mean, if Whitney Levitt replaced Emily Blunt, I don't think I would have noticed, but
I
I see what you mean.
Um, but yeah, so I think as far as like the plot, I mean, just like the general, like a quick summary of the plot of the movie, basically the movie kind of opens with us kind of like revisiting Anne Hathaway's character. And She is still working as a journalist, after leaving Runway 20 years ago. It seems like she's had a pretty like esteemed career. Like she's done a lot of really great work and everything. We see her at the beginning. She's about to be given an award. And then, boom, boom, boom. Like while she's right before she receives the award, her and all of her colleagues find out that essentially they're being fired or laid off or like whatever, like however you want to word it. Um, and it's kind of giving us like that angle of like journalism is a little bit dead in the modern era.
Yeah.
um, and undervalued. And so basically, with her kind of now in need of a new job, this opportunity pops up for her to return to Runway because Miranda Priestley is facing this huge scandal over sweatshop working conditions and
And they were
essentially that
lighting her ass up. They were lighting her
yeah,
ass up.
essentially that she took a bad deal because she was fooled into working with I think it was like a vendor or whatever that used those conditions and like they did not
Yeah.
realize. And then that whole
Yeah.
basically, it was like the modern scandal that you kind of
Yeah.
see. It's the kind of shit you would see in like the New York Times or whatever.
Yeah. The modern
Um,
fast fashion brand. I don't
yeah.
think it was probably as gauche as, a Fashion Nova, but it was
Yeah.
given Shop Akira or something at the least.
Yeah. But yeah, so basically we kind of have these plot points that force these two characters back together because essentially there'd be no other reason for these characters to reconnect. Um, so Andy ends up, taking a new job as a journalist for Runway, what kind of tasked with trying to rehab the brand and the image and kind of bring some legitimacy back. We see, Miranda Priestley still essentially in her same role, but she's gearing to move on up in the world and get a better position. We see Nigel still there. We find out that Emily is no longer with Runway, that she now works for Dior, essentially as like a luxury shopping vendor. Um, and of course, her, and of
You ain't
course,
need to call her a vendor. You ain't need to call her a vendor.
well, that's what they throw shade calling her a vendor in the movie. But
You are not a
essentially she
visionary, you are
works
a
yeah, her
vendor.
company works with Runway, which is, like, kind of what, keeps her connected. So there's, like, a lot of little things that essentially kind of force these characters back together. And then, yeah, we kinda like, that's kinda just where the movie goes from there, and we kind of see some similar shenanigans from the first movie play out. Miranda's still a
Mhm.
bitch.
Yeah. Lily's still there,
Yeah.
being Andy's friend.
Yeah. Something else. So, that's kinda just where the plot goes from there. I mean, we kinda see I feel like the way the plot like, it's similar to the original, but there's a few twists and turns.
Yeah, definitely, and I feel like it started off a little slow, like, we got the setup, and I'm just like for the first hour, I'm like, "Okay, where's the bomb drop? I don't think this is the main
Yeah.
conflict." And obviously, we know when the main conflict comes. I do a Cynthia Bailey gas, "Woo!" Like, literally in my little theater seat. I gas when so the main I guess the movie starts heating up when Irv, who is the head of it all, he dies suddenly at the
Yeah.
party where he's about to announce the promotion of, Miranda as the global head of content, which and looking for a promotion at 70, I can't, I can't. I thought that was the lesson of the movie, like, when is this ever gonna stop? But it doesn't seem to get to that point, but there's a lot that's, like, dropped in and then not revisited overall. Like, even the first thing with, like, the fashion industry and, like, the conditions, I thought
Mhm.
that was gonna be more of an overarching narrative rather than, like, tech is evil overall, which,
Yeah.
like, I see what they're getting at, but I don't know, I feel like the fast fashion of it all is much more specific to the industry. I would've
Yeah.
been more interesting, but, I digress.
Well, I kind of throughout the movie because I feel like whereas the first movie, like, they were very clearly, like, zoned in on commenting on the fashion industry.
Yeah.
And everything that kind of comes with that. This movie, it kind of felt like they couldn't fully commit to whether they wanted to focus on kind of like where journalism is in 2026 or where the fashion industry is in 2026. I felt like they were
Exactly.
kind of trying to cover both and splitting the focus a little bit.
No, you're exactly right, and it was just like, what are we going for here? But it makes sense because Andy kind of had transition between both worlds, but
Hmm.
definitely Miranda had this whole thing about, beauty and art, and then Andy's about, like, journalistic integrity and honesty,
Yeah.
which I guess, combined, leads
Right.
to the
Like,
magic we get at the end of the movie, but it definitely did feel like clashing narratives overall.
right. When you kind of see for both of them, like you said, Miranda with with the integrity and the art and like everything about the fashion industry and Andy with the journalism and everything, you kind of see how maybe some modern technology and advancements and optimization and stuff are kind of like really stifling out and downplaying both of those things.
Yeah, pretty much. And we also see pretty much like how that impacts people on the ground level. We see Andy getting laid off from her job right as she got an
Yeah.
award. We're seeing these restructuring efforts at I keep wanting to call it Vogue, Runway,
I
kind of
mean,
impacting how Miranda's running her day to day, and to the point where they're like,
mhm,
well, we got to bring in some help, which leads to Andy getting hired because Herb calls them up, which we
yeah,
later find out was Nigel behind the scenes the whole time. So I was like,
right.
ooh, look at
One,
Nigel having some power.
I was glad that they tied that in at the end of the movie because the entire movie, I just remember I was like, why would Irv even know who this woman Andy like really is, and like why would he specific?
Right?
Because obviously he sees her in the news and everything, and maybe he might somehow know that like once upon a time, 20 years ago, she worked for Miranda. But the entire time, it made no sense to me. I'm like, why the fuck does he care about like bringing
Right?
all people?
At first, I thought BJ Novak was gonna be like the love interest. I didn't realize he was gonna be evil. I
Right.
thought I was like, okay, that's maybe he got a little crush on Andy,
Hmm.
and that's how he's gonna fold in. But no, it was a lot going on.
Yeah. So I was glad they brought that in. Um, and then and that kind of leads to we see with the other kind of after Irv dying, we see then the next thing that kind of builds up is we see Andy and Emily kind of teaming up to work together. Essentially with the idea of like, hey, we're gonna save Runway because now they find out that like Runway is gonna be getting all these cuts and it's gonna be, getting reduced in capacity and potentially all these jobs
Yeah,
and departments are getting wiped out. Um and
they said
we
people
kind of
over
see that.
5 years, you gotta go.
Yeah, that's alright. And I was wondering, I was like, "Well, so does that count Andy or not?" Because she came back after 20 years. Um, but, well,
Well, I think
they kind
it's probably like continuous service. So she probably only did the internship that was whatever amount of time, and then
yeah,
she's back now. So
right.
maybe a couple of years, but
Um,
Nigel was
and
definitely getting up the fuck out of there.
yeah, and then obviously the big twist there is we find out that Emily was secretly plotting a takeover of Runway with her, new billionaire boyfriend who's
Right.
Lucy Liu ex-husband. Um,
I'd also excited to see Lucy Liu, which was definitely a whole like Jeff Bezos, Mackenzie Scott,
yeah.
Lauren Bezos thing of it all, with the
Oh,
boyfriend and
yeah,
his new hairline being,
yeah,
Jeff.
even so much as,
Emily
like
Whitney Levitt is Lauren, and then Lucy Liu is Mackenzie Scott.
yeah, well, because like, even so much with, like, Lucy Liu's character, like, being like, "I just wanna give everything away, I wanna give back, I wanna
Right?
do this, like, I don't care about the money," like, that's literally Jeff Bezos' ex-wife,
Yeah.
to a
Miss
T.
Mackenzie Scott.
They were not being subtle about it at all. Uh,
Oh, yeah, no, it was definitely very much like, "This is what we're doing." But it
yeah,
makes sense because also, like, Lauren Bezos was trying to, like, brand herself into a whole fashion girly now. Law
right,
Roach is styling her, and apparently it was, like, a whole thing that he almost bought Condé Nast for her just to
yeah,
gallivant and play around with, which is kind of a gag. I did not realize there was some
right,
truth to that, but
right,
Emily's
so
little backdoor hostile takeover.
right,
Honestly, it kinda gagged me because it
yeah,
was giving somebody on Survivor trying to do a big move and then
right.
blow it up in their face the next week, and they come
One
back like, "Hey, girl."
one the frustrating thing is, like, fucking 'cause Andy insisted that I don't know why Emily let her, because Andy was like, "We need to tell Miranda about what's going on." And, like, Emily should have been like, "No, let's not, let's not." Like, Emily needed to do a better job at, like, keeping her allies under control. Um,
Right? Well, I think Andy was she probably realized Andy was gonna tell her anyway, because that's a
that's
determined
true.
girl.
She's like, "Let me be present," um, when the shoe drops. Yeah, 'cause, I mean, she would've succeeded had it not been for that.
Right?
Um,
And honestly, I feel like I was hoping for or expecting a juicier story on, like, why Emily left. Because they were kinda, like,
right,
building up all of this stuff, like, "Oh, it must have been drama, must have been crazy." And it just turned out, like, Emily got quote, unquote, "pushed out" because Dior gave her this job. But it
mhm,
doesn't sound like she necessarily got fired, but maybe it was, like, too good of an offer that she couldn't refuse that maybe
right,
Miranda set up. And
right.
then, I don't know, it should've just been more nefarious, honestly, like, I don't
Right.
know.
No, I would have liked it better if it was a case of because it almost feels like, okay, like, I understand being a little maybe bitter about getting pushed out, but at the same time, like, you got pushed out into a really good position,
Yeah,
which a lot of people don't get that. A lot of people just get laid off and get screwed.
right. I
Um,
guess it's less close to the sun, but obviously, she probably feels about it the same way Miranda does, because like she said, Miranda tells her, "You're not a visionary, you're a vendor." Which,
ooh,
in the retail space, which she kinda goes on about, luxury retail is where the money happens. This is where people makes
right.
money. So it's
I
not
just think
as
especially 'cause
creative, maybe not as, like, prestigious in that world. But she was
Right.
getting to the bag, it seemed, with her man. I don't know. You should have gotten a ring, trapped him with
Why
a baby.
I think just especially because, like, in the first movie, we see, like, how obsessed, Emily is with her job at Runway and with the magazine in general, and, like, she is, like, sacrificing so many things in her life for it and everything. I think what they could have done is they literally could have had it been, like, Miranda just, like, cold ass bitch just, like, straight up fired her, and she had to go rebuild elsewhere,
Right?
and, like, they could have tied in, how bitter she was about, like, how
Right?
for the magazine, everything. They could have done that, and it would have, I feel like, been a better, like, motivation for the revenge plot.
Right, or, like, if she tried to, like, blackball her, like, she was interviewing and Miranda was, like,
Yeah,
shutting it down, like, keep her there or keep her little. Like, I
yeah,
don't know. And honestly, I don't like how they diminished Emily a little too much. Obviously, they have to position Andy as, like, moral good, it works out for her, but Emily clearly was good at her job, competent, knows fashion, succeeded
yeah,
in these circles, clearly was
w
getting to the bag and scammed that man, so,
yeah,
I don't know, I feel like the movie didn't show enough to be like, Emily's good too, just not as good as Andy, but,
right.
you
Well, I
know.
think that, like, and I mean, that was the thing with the first movie, and I feel like, when you go back to the first movie, that is such, like, a common story trope in so many, pieces of media where you have, like, 2 characters in a similar, like, industry or job position where one, like, really cares and really wants it and is taking it very seriously and they're working hard for it, and the other one really doesn't give a fuck, doesn't take it seriously, thinks it's, like, stupid, which is like that was Andy in the first movie. She's like, "Oh, this
Right?
is all dumb." Um,
The
and
Sharpay
but then
effect.
the one that doesn't take it seriously advances over the one that does, and, like, you see that trope in a lot of media, I've noticed,
Oh, for sure.
and I mean, look at fucking High School Musical. Look at Sharpay.
Right?
Like,
I was
she
saying.
she kept losing out lead roles to a bitch that could care less.
Well, it's not like Gabriella, didn't give a fuck, but she's wanted to study with her books. Now
Right.
Troy
So,
was just
that is a
rolled out of
common trope.
nowhere, but
So,
Ryan didn't want the lead enough. Ryan didn't want the lead enough.
he he wasn't determined enough. He wasn't determined enough. Well, he also wasn't determined enough to be gay because suddenly he has a girlfriend by the time everything is said and done.
Like they
Um,
wasn't changing clothes in the country club.
ooh, him and Chad. Ooh, Lord. Um, but yeah, so and basically, obviously, the movie ends with Emily's plan failing. Miranda gets to keep her job. Andy, and actually, surprisingly, because actually, you know what? Let's just get directly into, like, focusing on some of the characters. Let's talk about Andy and kind of, like,
Miss
her
Andy.
overall journey she goes on in this movie, which is, like, what I find interesting is that when you look at, like, kind of like her ending in the first movie versus her ending in this movie, in the first movie, you kind of see her, even though she ends up being really good at the job, she ends up leaving it to continue pursuing journalism in part because she sees, like, what Miranda's life is like and realizes that she doesn't want that for herself. She doesn't want to be in this. And that's the end of the first movie. Versus in this movie, it's almost like she decides to stay with Runway in the industry and almost kind of come at it from a point. The first movie, it's like she's running away from it, and the movie, I feel like it's more like
Yeah.
she's changing it from within.
Or she thinks she is. But I bet she's
Yeah,
still playing her interns like shit.
probably, probably.
Old girl who put the phone down and wiretapped that conversation. She deserved a
Ooh,
raise for that, but
she did deserve a raise for that, and we're gonna talk about her because she was my favorite side character. We're gonna talk about
oh,
her.
I loved
Uh,
her. I loved her.
but yeah, I did like with Andy because in the original movie, like, she was kind of like this young, naive, like, hopeful, kind of insecure character coming into this situation where she was kind of being thrown to the wolves in a way.
Mhm.
Just kind of trying to, get a start in her career. And I feel like in this movie, it felt like she very much slipped back. Anne Hathaway really slipped back in the character, and she still felt like Andy, but she
Yeah.
felt like realistically like where Andy would be 20 years later. Like, she felt like an older, more confident Andy.
No, for sure. I definitely got that because you see the refinement in like her attire and her dress, but there's
Yeah.
still some awkwardness. So it's like, oh, like she's still
Yeah.
click clacking in them heels because she can't walk. To the point
Right.
Meryl asked her, like, you should get that checked.
Right. Well, and it makes sense because in the first movie, she kind of comes in portrayed as like this frumpy, like, unstylish character, who's just kind of wearing like what's comfortable and not really, caring much how it looks. And then obviously in the first movie, she gets like this major makeover where she's wearing all these like designer labels and all these really curated outfits. And by the end of the movie, she kind of ditches that. And I feel like in this movie and her style, you see a mixture of that where it is elevated and a little bit more stylish, but it's still her and it's not necessarily like she's just wearing all the labels and stuff.
Mhm. I know, and I like that. It's cute.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely very her, and still
Yeah.
getting dragged by Miranda sometimes. She
Yeah.
definitely got told to change in Milan, and she
Yeah.
took her ass back and changed. I know that.
Well, and that's what I kinda like though, is I kind of like that, like, her and Miranda's dynamic is still similar, but you can kinda see, like, she's not as hurt by it as she was in the first movie. It's not hitting the same way because I think she is a little bit more of a self-assured person now.
Yeah, she's kinda, like, pushing back on Miranda a little bit, sometimes
Yeah,
doesn't care.
she's not, like, terrified of her like she was in the
Yeah,
first movie.
and I think in part, it's like society's changed, Miranda can't be as, such a behemoth. Because
Yeah,
1, the industry isn't what it used to be, so she's answering to some different people, but
yeah,
society isn't also what it used to be, and we see that in the movie, which is funny because
yeah,
pretty much Simone Ashley's character, Miss Amari, who
yeah,
Simone Ashley's so fucking gorgeous, beautiful girl.
she is.
But pretty much half of her lives were pretty much correcting Miranda saying problematic shit or
Yeah,
advising her to use more HR appropriate language,
right.
which is funny. And then at one point they show Miranda hanging up her coat, which is funny as hell
I
because
know
they're like,
Andy is like, "Is Miranda hanging up her own coat?"
and then she could be like, "Oh yeah, there was something about her throwing it at other people."
Yeah, no, Jen, Andy's assistant, was like, "Yeah, no, like, some people complained to HR about her throwing her coat at people a while back."
And she
Which
was whispering it like it was tea, like Andy and experience that,
right, I think I know, she literally in the first movie, she literally always, like, throwing her coat in someone's
right?
face.
Making Andy get manuscripts from J.K. Rowling of unreleased fucking books.
Yeah. Um, I will say, overall, from start to finish, I did enjoy Andy in this movie. One thing I was not here for is her love interest, like, side plot to me was so pointless. Like,
It
genuinely,
was
you could have
pointless.
removed that love interest, and it would change nothing about the movie.
Right? I like the fact that it wasn't, like, a main focus, but
Mhm.
this movie already felt so weirdly paced, so it just felt so shoehorned in, but truthfully, like, not useful at all. The
Yeah.
only thing it did was give Lily something to do other than just reassure Anne,
Yeah.
but I guess there was I'm glad Tracy Tom got a check, but
Right. Yeah, no,
just
it just
yeah, no, just shoehorned in. And while we're here, Meryl's nigga too, like, well, her young ass first of all, the cat, I was so confused, I was like, "That her son?" But no, that's her man. Her little sugar baby, her little pound cake,
well,
her little boy toy.
right? Well, I feel like, though, at least, like, with him, he was kind of more just, like he was more kinda just, like, walking around, like yeah, he was just kinda there, you know? He was just walking around
He
doing
was
things.
walking around.
Like, I feel like with Andy's man, I can't remember his name, I feel
The
like they
realtor with the Australian accent,
yeah,
the
and here's
developer,
the thing is I really I'm s I don't like
contractor.
I don't like the pointless love interest with the Australian accent. I have not liked that ever since, Vanessa Williams was on Desperate Housewives and they gave her a fuck ass Australian guy to be a love interest. I'm like, "Let her do other things. This is a waste of time. Let
Right,
her be Vanessa
they really
Williams."
didn't need this. I also feel like Annie's at the point in her life where she would date a light-skinned man, and he was not that.
Oh, yeah, and then Andy did awkwardly kind of, like, mention her frozen eggs a few times, um, which is
I
kind of
cackled the first time she said that. I knew that's
yeah.
what she meant when she talked about 82nd Street. I was like, "Oh, she's talking about her frozen eggs."
One thing I thought, that was an area where I feel like they kind of, like, subverted the expectation a little bit for me, because I feel like most of the time in a franchise like this, they would like, between Emily and, Andy's characters, they would make, like, Andy, like, the single mom that's, like, trying to balance having a kid
Not a
and
single one.
working, while Emily would be, like, the childless one, but I feel like they kinda switched that, and I kinda liked that.
No, Emily gives me, like, 2 babies, 3 nannies, you know?
Well, that's yeah, I feel like, for Emily, it was kind of like a nice way to soften her character, right?
That's
Like, 'cause, like, sh
true.
where, like, the moments where she's kind of like, "Oh, yeah, look at my kids."
That's true.
Yeah.
Gave her some, made her more well-rounded. And
Right,
we
gave
do
her some
see,
depth.
like, the walls between Emily and Andy come down a little bit, which leads
Yeah.
to a very awkward scene in the end with a terrible blonde haircut, but,
Yeah.
a friendship between them potentially blossoming for real
Yeah.
this time.
Yeah. Well, that's the and I do wanna get more into Emily's character, but before we get to her, I did wanna talk about Nigel, because I feel like overall, he was probably of the 4 main characters, he was probably the one that had the least story and least development between the 2 movies, but I feel like he still had a little something going on.
A little
Uh,
arc.
yeah, and I feel like, in a lot of ways in this movie, he served kind of a similar purpose as he served in the first movie, where he's kind of just like a little shady, sassy, guy running around and he's helping Andy and stuff, kind of like survive this role. Um, and advising Miranda and everything. Um, I will say, to me, it's kind of funny that he even still works for Miranda 20 years later,
Right?
because
After
I
that
mean,
shit she pulled in the first movie.
yeah, because she tried to snake the fuck out of him in the first movie, and then he even said, to Andy, because Andy was like, "Oh, you've forgiven her for that?" And he's like, "Well, she's done it to me like at least 20 times since then."
And I'm sure he's gotten his lick back because he loves talking through her back channel. He brought
Yeah,
Andy in to piss Miranda off, so I imagine, what has he done before? He's kept his job. He stayed on payroll, so
right. Yeah, and I do like his little arc of, like, I feel like you kinda see, and it's kinda tied into Miranda's arc as well, but you kinda see by the end of the movie, Miranda kinda finally coming to appreciate him more and, like,
mhm,
understanding, like, the fact that, like, "Hey, out of everybody, this is the only one that stuck by me for, like, decades."
right.
And he's always been there, he's always been dependable,
A
he's
soldier for Miranda, as
yeah,
Karen
like
Huger would put it.
yeah, and that's the thing is, I mean, it can be argued that for every, powerful businesswoman, there's a homosexual man somewhere helping hold her down,
That she's probably keeping in a lower position,
right? That's what I'm saying. I'm like, damn, he hasn't advanced at all since then in 20 years.
right? Just the art director stuff. Not even like a little international little,
Yeah,
excursion. After
yeah,
2 years of Miranda's bullshit, I'm like, "You know what? Send me to Vietnam or something. I'll run the Vietnamese division because 'cause I'm not dealing with your ass no more.
yeah.
Give me
I
a
do like
regional
that he
publication and
finally
I'll have
got
a time."
his little moment in the sun at the end when he
The
got to
little
go.
speech at a
Yeah, he
conference,
got
I
to
was
give.
like, "Okay, I guess
Yeah,
a fashion show." But
yeah, he got to give his speech and, on behalf of Runway and everything, and I mean, obviously, by the end of the movie, he got to keep his job when, it was looking like he might lose it. I will say he is, like, one character, he handles betrayal very well.
he just keeps on going.
Yeah,
So does Andy low key. Andy keeps it moving. My thing with Nigel, it was like, I never placed like what did his character want, like career wise? Because everyone else
yeah,
we kind of see what they want, what they're angling at with him. Is it just like, does he want to just have a good time, mentor other people? Does he want to
right,
get to the bag? Is it truly just like he loves the art direction? He doesn't want to go up? And they
right,
definitely could have fleshed that out a little bit more to understand why
right,
he made the decisions he did make. But
right,
otherwise, it seems like he's just, happy being a gay accessory, which I was just like,
right.
oh.
Well,
I
that's the
don't
thing
think
is,
that's what would really happen.
yeah, like, for me, I feel like I can kind of assume or guess that that is it, that he just, like, he loves his job and wants to stay there, but, like, I shouldn't have to assume or guess it, like, I should know it by the end of the movie.
Right? Or like what's keeping him so runway, 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 you know?
Yeah.
I mean, I
Well,
I definitely see that they're established as like the pinnacle of it, but
right. Well, and that's the
someone
thing is,
someone would have came with a better offer by now, like,
right, well, and that's the thing is, like, if you were to maybe cut out Andy's pointless love interest storyline, like, that's going on the side, we
right,
maybe would have had a few extra minutes of screen time available. Because, like,
right,
really, you literally just need a few extra minutes with Nigel to kind of, maybe one extra
right.
scene to, like, establish his motives better.
Yeah. Does he wanna be famous himself like Law Roach? Does he wanna be the star? Like,
Okay,
they
Law
could have
Roach.
explored that.
Now
He
Nigel
was
would
he
never
was
be
in
as
it.
messy as Law Roach.
No, but he might get a good enough lace front. He might get a good enough lace front.
Can you imagine if, like, during the Fashion Week like, scenes at the end, if Nigel walked in wearing inches, a bust down and straight?
I think Andy would have said the same thing she said to Emily. "Love the hair." Or whatever she said. "Nice hair."
See, if I saw Emily's hair at the end, I give, do you remember on Real House of New York City when Ramona had that really tight, like, that she had that ponytail was pulled back really tight, and Tinsley's mom was like, "Oh, I love it. It's" what'd she say? "It's very attractive." That's what I
I
would
be
have
like
said
I
if
be like, "Well," I be like, "But why is the bob all like it's giving Dora?" I mean, "Why you go Dora? You go with the blonde Dora? I
I think
don't."
her bob is tight.
It wasn't even tight, it was just like, I don't know,
It was
Dora-ish. I
bad. It
don't
was really bad. I hope it was a wig.
I was just
Um,
like, I mean, I knew it was giving bad breakup hair. I knew that man left her. The moment I
yeah,
saw her sitting there at that scene, I was like, "Oh, she's about to go tell Andy she's single now, cause that's
right.
something I got left ass hair."
Well, on the topic of Emily, I mentioned to you before that she was my favorite character in the original movie, and honestly, I still really liked her in this movie, and I wanted to see her win. I
I'm
wanted to see the plan
crying.
succeed
I mean,
because
I knew it wouldn't succeed, but it just felt so, like, slapped in, like,
Yeah.
I guess she was supposed to be like not like the major villain. I guess that's Mindy Kaling,
Yeah.
baby daddy, but like
Yeah.
supposed to be like a subplot. But even then, it felt more like she was like, this is my chance. I'm gonna go for it, rather than she was plotting on the long term. I think she was probably like, in for it at the beginning, and I was like, well, why not I be editor in chief? You know,
Right.
it felt very like opportunistic rather than evil, which maybe is just
Yeah.
Emily to a T.
Right, Watson, yeah, because I think she was never I think even in the first movie, like, where Miranda was, like, the true villain, like, Emily was, like, a bitch, like, and everything, and she was not very kind to Andy at times, but, I mean, she was never, like she's the type of person, she'll talk shit, but she's not gonna, like, push you in front of a bus or something.
Right? She's not gonna ruin you. Like she's not gonna file a fake HR complaint. She's gonna talk shit. You know?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. She's just gonna set she's gonna what she said her in the first episode of, like, "Oh, are you on your way to the ugly skirt convention?" She's gonna say something
It's
like
like the
that.
opposite of Ashley Darby.
Right? That's thing, yeah, that's thing, I mean, yeah, Ashley Darby's gonna try to ruin your fucking life. Same thing with Giselle. Um, Bryant, not the model. Uh,
We didn't think
but
so. We didn't think so.
yeah, Emily in this movie, I was kinda hoping she would, and my thing is, like and this has happened in both movies now. In both movies, we've seen Miranda be
Miranda.
like an absolute bitch, and just be like this horrible, horrible person that will screw over and cut everyone in order to like self-preserve or advance herself. Yet in both movies, we've seen the same plot point with her where like her position is at risk. Um, and Andy, and I feel like they want us as well to feel sorry for her. And I'm like, I don't feel bad for this bitch. And
Like I'm
both
like, I know they're not just gonna fire you. You're gonna get like a nice little severance package with stock
right.
options.
Right, one like, in the first movie, she kinda saves herself by doing some snake shit, and in this movie, she's just kinda saved because Andy feels bad for her and wants to help her, and I'm like I've never understood why, 'cause I'm like, she is a cutthroat ass bitch, like, she
Because
like,
Andy's too nice. That's how Emily played her ass.
that's yeah, that's the thing, and that's part of why I wanted Emily to win, 'cause I was like, "Yeah, fuck Miranda." Um, so I was a little bit disappointed by that, I was like, "Shit, like, what that would've been a good way to kinda gag the audience to be like, "Oh, yeah, Miranda did get her ass fired."
Can you imagine that's the end of the movie? It's
Yeah,
just her packing up her desk and Emily's walking around cackling.
that would've been good. I would've liked that better than the ending we got,
Nah, I think people would have been pissed. People would have been pissed.
right? I would've gagged, but that's just my thing is I'm just like, I don't understand why all the other characters have to bend over backwards to, like, save Miranda's ass when Miranda like, literally I mean, literally in this movie, she was ready to let all of those bitches get cut. She was ready to let Nigel
Right?
go, Andy like, everyone was gonna get cut.
And she did admit that, like, Andy had to wake her up after a while and snap her on her stupor because she literally was just, like, I guess, reacting to everything because
Yeah,
she was losing power by the day, both in her industry and and the company as a whole, like, the position of
yeah,
it, so it's probably tough for her to stare retirement down the barrel, but clearly she didn't wanna go, but
mhm,
I do think we saw a more human side. I don't think she was as evil as in the first movie.
yeah,
Outside of this little quips to Andy, maybe it didn't seem as much punching down because she seemed to be much
right.
nicer to Amari than anyone else. I don't know.
Well, I feel like with Miranda in this movie, they really I think a big point of it was that they were kinda making it that she's not like, in the first movie, she was scary, and I feel like in this movie,
Yeah,
she's not. She's not really
yeah,
intimidating or scary because she really is in a lot of ways powerless, and we kind of see what I think is funny as far as showing Miranda's development is instead of showing her changing as a person and maybe becoming like, growing and becoming a better person, instead, it's more so like the industry and the world around her has changed, and she has no choice but to adapt.
right?
Um,
And that's why her twins don't call her ass because we don't see them
right?
in the movie.
One thing and, like, seeing, like, her kind of having to hang up her own coat, like, is kind of a moment of that, and, seeing her, like, in those meetings, like you said, where Amari's kinda correcting her, because in the
Yeah.
original movie, like well, first of all, Amari would have been too scared to correct her if this was a character in the original movie, but also, like, in the original movie, if somebody did correct her like that, she would have given them an icy, dirty ass look, and that would have been it.
Right? And she definitely would have had Caleb Pearson's character fired the first time she saw him.
Right. Well, we also see what I thought was interesting too that we didn't see in the first movie that we see in this one is that we see kind of this like which is like very you know I think relevant to the real world is we see a lot of like when it comes to like her female colleagues and stuff, they're respectful of her, but then when we see her interacting with the men in her industry or the men around her, these wealthy men, they're very condescending,
Mhm.
disrespectful, talk down to her. Um, like I feel like we see a lot of that. And I mean, that's very real because, in a lot of these industries and a lot of these corporations and a lot of these businesses, even if you are the highest ranking woman in the room, it's very common for, the most powerful man in the room to just talk shit.
Yeah, ignore you, ignore
Yeah.
your opinion, defer to
That's
other male team members who probably don't have your title.
Yeah, well, I think especially for Miranda as an older woman in an industry, I feel like a lot of times, you know, when you combine the misogyny and the sexism with the ageism, then it's a whole new ball game.
Right? I know, even, like, you also get, like, the generation mismatch with that. You
Yeah.
even saw it with, like, how BJ Novak was punching her shoulder and shit, try to act all casual. She was like, "Oh, is this man touching
She's
me?"
like, "What the hell?"
The scene in the cafeteria was so funny though, because
Her
he
not
was like,
knowing
"Oh,
that
you
this
wanna
is
get lunch?" And she's like,
cafeteria.
"I can get a little reservation." He's like, "Nah, the cafe's good." And he first of all, the consultants lined up was a gag, but everyone's stopping and staring, looking at Meryl and
It's like,
Miranda
"What?"
in the cafeteria. Like, what is she doing here? The fact that she didn't even know they had a cafeteria.
One and s I think I can't remember if it was Nigel or somebody else, but somebody's like, "She's never even been to that floor before."
It was Nigel because I was cackling at that.
Yeah. Which, I mean, I believe because I believe that Miranda, like, she walks into the lobby, goes to the elevator, goes to her floor, and that's it.
Right? And she goes to a little lunch reservation. The car's
Mhm.
probably waiting for her outside. But I'm surprised she never even, like, on a busy day, had somebody go pick up a salad from there. I guess she had somewhere to deliver it or they ran and got it, but
Well, no, because I remember in the first movie, I remember she would a few times she gave Andy, like she, like, would, like, speed read an order to Andy and expect her to remember that shit without even getting a chance to write it down, and Andy would have to go pick that shit up.
right? Nowadays, they'll just be getting her sweet green order off the fucking pickup shelf.
Yeah. I did notice there was a lot of, like, in this
Product
movie.
placement,
What?
product placement.
Well, that too, but I
Oh,
also did notice there was a lot of, like, um there was a lot of, shame around, like, travel accommodations, like Andy having to take the subway,
oh, that
Mir
was shady.
yeah, Miranda and all of them, having to,
Use
fly
Ubers.
economy. Yeah,
Oh yeah, and they also said no more private cars. We got to use Uber now,
right. Which, I mean, yeah, that's like all these industries now, they're cutting costs wherever they can.
right? I'm just trying to imagine Miranda's ass using Uber, looking at the little app on the phone, trying to find the driver.
She looked horrified when they said Uber,
She did. She was like, "Huh?
right?
I know what's her name. Gonna have to be ordering them anyway, Miss Amari."
Right? Right, that's the thing, yeah, Miranda's not even gonna have to be the one to arrange any of that, so I don't know why
Right.
she.
They also said that and had all this horror, but we go to Milan, they gallivanting at dinners, Meryl's in this
Right,
giant ass suite. So I
right,
don't really feel like it's still impacting them. I
right,
don't see them taking Uber after that. We don't see no Uber product placement, so
right,
no, I don't it didn't
yeah,
really seem to make an impact, but you know what? It was enough of a gag. It was enough of a gag.
right. Well, do you wanna talk about some of our favorite side characters? I don't necessarily wanna discuss all of them because, I mean, I feel like there were a lot of side characters, but there's just a few that stood out to me.
Yeah, let's get into our icon, Andy's assistant.
Yes, Miss Jen, I loved her, she was definitely my favorite side character in this movie. Um I think that what I liked about her is I feel like when they first introduced her, it kind of felt like they were, like, making a joke about, like, Gen Z workers and stuff. Because you see a lot of these articles and a lot of people, like, talking shit about Gen Z,
Mhm.
like, entering the workforce and everything and how they can't handle certain things or the
Yeah.
expectations. Actually, there was even a thing where, like, Andy and Nigel were, like, talking about, like, "I am so worried about the future the future generations for work in the workforce."
Oh, yeah.
Um,
When I was right before she done saved the day, because that was when she was
yeah.
like, "Oh, you want Froyo?" And they were
Yeah.
like, "Huh?"
And that's the thing is, like, Jen ended up being a real fucking G. Like, first of all, this was illegal, but she secretly recorded the conversation.
Well, it was in public, so do they
It
have a
was
right to
such a smooth
privacy?
move, though, of her, like, dropping her phone on purpose and then kind of having it on to record and pushing it under Miranda's seat so she
Mhm.
could record that conversation with Amanda and the board. And the funny thing is when she told Andy about it, I thought Andy was gonna be, like, ethically horrified by that, but Andy was like, "Oh my god, yay."
Well, she was about to get laid off, so she need to get to the T.
Right,
Which, you know what? You could say it's illegal, but I don't think there's an expectation of privacy in the cafeteria of your workplace. Like, if you see your CEO sitting down with 12 consultants in the cafeteria, let's go start lay I would start layoff rumors even if I didn't have the conversation.
Well, see, and I
So,
thought
they
when
should have booked the room. I
what
mean, realistically, they would have booked the room, but,
yeah.
movie magic, movie magic.
I think what I thought well, yeah, when Jim was kinda coming to Andy with the tea, I thought she was gonna say that she, like, walked by and, like, overheard something, like, she eavesdropped.
Right?
So I was shocked when she was like, "Oh, no, I recorded the conversation."
Dropping that phone down. But, Jen was an icon.
Yeah. That thing, yeah, she didn't have a lot of screen time, but I felt like she was memorable in every scene she was in.
Yeah. Her and Amari were definitely given, like, the Gen Z diverse versions of Emily and Andy. Because we
Right.
see their quirks, how they present, how they handle the job specifically. And even with
Right.
Jin, how, like, it was very Andy-ish how she stepped up to this opportunity because pretty much
Right.
how she got the role of Andy's assistant is that every intern got to interview if that kind of spot opened up, but nobody wanted to be on Andy's boring ass editorial team, so she got it by
Right.
default.
She took the opportunity and she kind of had like that she was kinda like she kinda came off like a little bit insecure and anxious at
Mhm.
first and a little bit like, "Oh my gosh, people pleaser."
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think Amari to Emily is a good comparison because Amari really is like just like, "Oh, I'm that bitch. I know."
Right? She's good at the job. She's like, "I'm getting promoted. I won't
She
be
loves
assistant number
fashion. She
1
has
too
like a passion
longer."
for it.
Right? Because she was ignoring Andy the whole time until she was like, "Oh, yeah, I wore some stuff." She was like, "Oh, the newspaper hat," or
Right.
whatever.
Yeah,
And
the
then she
moment
was
Andy
intrigued.
mentioned
Then she
going
was
to Paris
interested.
and wearing the couture clothes and everything, and then as soon as Andy said she gave it away, sh immediately again, she's like, "Nope, not interested. You're
Who
not my
gives that
person."
away?
Yeah, she's like, "You're" yeah, "Who gives away Chanel?" I think is what she said. Um, that's yeah, she was immediately like, "Okay, yeah, no, we're not kinfolk." Um, but,
But she would've loved Emily. Hopefully, they can meet someday, or maybe they did meet.
I
I don't know.
know.
They shoulda
I
had
know,
a scene, like,
I
one
kind of
little
not
mini scene.
yeah, now you mention it, I kind of wish there had been a scene between Amari and Emily, I think that would've been fun.
Emily told the poacher, "You should work for me."
Yeah. Um, I kinda thought that, Ca is it Caleb Heron that 'cause I know he's like a fun
Oh,
he's kinda like a
Caleb Pearson, I think?
is it Hearson? I don't know, but it was kinda funny when I saw him because I recognized him, I was like, "Oh my god, it's him."
Oh, Heron. Oh, I was adding an S to this boy name.
Right? But, yeah, him being an assistant was kinda funny. Once again, he didn't really have that many moments or roles. Yeah, he was there being around.
Did you know I
I
auditioned for
thought
that part?
that, um,
Oh, you're gonna ignore that too?
um, I thought that, Emily's man, um, what
Fake
was his
ass
name?
Jeff
Jim?
Bezos.
Yeah.
Something with a
That's it.
B. The last name was a B.
Oh, it was Benji or something.
Yeah.
But,
Lucy Liu,
yeah,
ex-husband.
I thought he was I thought he was, like, kind of a funny comic relief character and stuff, and just, like, such a good parody of just these, like, douchebag billionaire tech bros.
Yeah. No, his aloofness was kinda funny. It was, like, definitely more tangential to BJ that we weren't supposed to take him, like, as a serious villain, more of like a fool. Even the things with
Right,
Emily, he was like, "Yeah, she made me shave my chest hair." So his
right.
delivery was good, his comedic timing was landing.
Yeah,
So, yeah. No, I didn't mind him. And, of course,
right,
I
well
love me some Lucy Liu, so I was excited to see her in any
yeah.
capacity,
I loved the little scenes we got with her.
right? Looking as gorgeous as ever. And she done saved the day because she ended up buying out the company, so
I
she
know, I
keeps
thought that was
everyone's jobs with
right,
that man's money, with that man's money,
right. I thought that was funny the way that yeah, just the way that she kinda tied back in at the end.
right? Which I was expecting it because I was like, "Who would buy it right now?" And I was like, "Oh, Lucy Liu ass, Lucy
Right?
Liu ass."
That lady got money.
Right? And I didn't realize she was in this. Maybe I wasn't watching too many trailers or press or whatever. I was like, "I just wanna see the movie." So when her name
I
popped up
think
in the beginning, I was like, "Lucy Liu?"
I think her inclusion because I didn't see her in any of the promotion, I didn't know
Gotcha,
she was gonna be in this either, so I feel like it was supposed to be a gag.
gotcha. Okay, good, because I was ga
Yeah. That thing, yeah, her and the Lady Gaga cameo because I had no idea Gaga was gonna be in this either, so that gagged me too. Well,
I thought
especially
that was known, I just missed it, 'cause I was like, "God." It was like a
no, I
long
had
ass
no
thing too
idea.
that she had a whole performance.
Watching one earlier in the movie when they set it up, like when Nigel was like, "Well, we could call in a favor from a
Right?
certain pop star," and Miranda was like, "No, I hate that bitch." Um,
Right, I was like, "Who are they talking about?" I
yeah.
don't know why I'm like, "Christina Aguilera?" You know I
Well,
like
that's
me
the
some
thing is
Christina Aguilera.
I thought it was just gonna for the rest of the movie, like, it was gonna remain like an unnamed pop star, So
right?
then, like, when Gaga popped up, like, I
Gaga
gasped.
looking mad as hell when she trying to pop the Miranda going
I
like, "Hey,
liter
girl."
I literally in the movie theater when she walked in and there was Gaga there, I was like, I was giving sympathy myself.
Ooh, that was me when Earth fell, but
Yeah.
the Gaga one, you could tell she was so pissed she was in there.
Yeah. I
As angry as hell because you don't like me.
yeah, I know.
Like,
Her
who would say that?
the fucking the dynamic well, especially because in both of these movies, like, you don't really see people, like, really give it back to Miranda much, like, in terms of, like, her just nastiness. So, like, watching her and Gaga kind of have that little bitch off moment, like, it was kind of
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah, that's what establishes, Miranda more in the universe. And after
Right.
she leaves the dressing room, Gaga gonna turn around to her team like, "Who let her in here?" Angry as hell.
Yeah, no, and
And then we
I
got
just
like a 2-minute performance of Gaga just at this fashion show. And I had
right.
to look up because it looked like a real I was like, there's no way they put this together just for a fucking 2 minutes of B-roll. So they actually did film at like a real fashion show in Milan, which was
Yeah.
interesting.
Well, now that's from what I understand, like, during the montage where, Andy was making all the calls and Miranda was going to all these fashion shows and stuff, from what I understand, like, Meryl Streep was actually going to all these fashion shows dressed,
Yeah.
like, as Miranda, and they
Stanley
were
Tucci too.
yeah,
It was the Dolce& and Gabbana Spring Summer 2026 PJ Obsession show. Okay, spring summer.
yeah. Well, and with Gaga's cameo, I love, a celebrity that can kind of, like, play, like, an unflattering, like, parody version of themselves in a movie. Like, I think that's hilarious.
Right. And since we're at the celebrity cameo portion, I know you don't give a fuck about basketball, but I thought the Karl Anthony Towns cameo was funny, especially because the Knicks did just win again and
Yeah.
sweep. So Anne Hathaway was giving me because I don't watch the games. But I was like, it's great to be a New Yorker. The Knicks won again because they did just win a series, and I was celebrating just like
Yeah.
Anne. I love being a New Yorker. I don't watch them boys, but I'm happy when they win.
I thought I thought that Emily having lunch with Donatella Versace was hilarious.
That one was funny. And then she
Yeah.
turned around cursing her out in Italian.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
like,
like,
okay, Emily Blunt. Emily Blunt, I know you knew Italian. And if she
right,
didn't, that was good practice because it sounded fluent,
right, when and the fact I'm like, "Oh, you gonna talk to Donatella like that?"
right? Donatello just took it, so clearly that's how they communicate.
That's their repertoire,
That's how they get down. But
right?
Donatella made sense because she's in the fashion world, but I think
Mhm.
there was a touch too much of the celebrity cameos. Obviously, you have to establish the world, but it was like it was given like too much B-roll at some point. Like we had the
Yeah.
party that
W we got Winnie
Miranda had.
Harlow.
Winnie Harlow was there. We had like this little party. We had all these fashion events. There's like
Yeah,
another gala. Hugh Jackman couldn't even show up. He was mentioned off camera.
right,
'Cause that was one moment from the Australian man I did enjoy. Because he was just
yeah.
like, you know what? Australians have to say hi to each other, which I was like, you know what? I'll give him that.
I
But
believe
then we
that,
don't we don't even get Hugh Jackman on camera. They just mention him and he walks away.
right?
I'm like, y'all couldn't get Hugh Jackman.
We have Marc Jacobs making an appearance, we have Naomi Campbell making an appearance.
I did not even notice Naomi as.
Yeah, it was quick, it was similar to, like, Naomi and La Roche, they were both just, like, a quick
Yeah,
moment.
yeah. I saw a lot of Roach in the inches.
Yeah,
I I I probably saw Mark Jacobs, but I'm saying I can't pick that man out of a lineup, so I probably did see
yeah.
him.
Ashley Graham was there, Heidi
Ashley
Klum.
Graham was there. Ashley Graham everywhere selling products, doing things.
Um,
And probably there were
but
a
yeah,
lot of those like gorgeous like South Sudanese models whose name I don't know, but whose faces I know and
right,
everything. I'm sure some other white women models who I don't names I don't know. Kendall
yeah,
was mentioned. Kendall did not appear, but Kendall was a plot line
yeah,
on why
just
some brand hated Emily.
right. Just overall, I would say good side characters, good cameos. Like you said, maybe there was a few too many, like, pointless celebrity cameos, but,
Just a
you know
touch, just a touch.
I
Or
could
just too
also
much random B-roll. It was just like
yeah,
I guess run times. I feel like they need to be 2 hours now. No one just wants to release a 90-minute movie.
right,
But with movie theater prices, you know what? I don't mind. So give me more movie. But I was like, can you make it cohesive?
right. Well, yeah, that's it. I just I don't like because I don't mind a longer runtime, but, yeah, I definitely don't like it when it's a longer runtime, and I feel like the runtime is being padded out by, like,
Right.
pointless stuff.
Especially in the beginning. Like if I'm feeling it at the end, that could just be my movie endurance. Like with Barbie, where I was getting restless when they would just walk around a white wall. But if I feel at the beginning is, a little pointless, and there's things that just whole
Yeah,
storylines that could have been removed. It's a direction problem, not a me being a little
Yeah.
tired and antsy problem.
Yeah.
Which with
Well,
Barbie, I feel like I was getting a little antsy, but
yeah.
you know how I
Well,
feel about that antsy.
right. Well, overall, like, with everything said and done, would you say this is a good sequel?
I wouldn't say it ruined the legacy. It's like the
Mhm.
child you have that's like, you didn't fuck up your life, but you're not doing much. You know, it's not like they live at home still, but it's like, they
Mhm.
could be back in 6 months.
Yeah.
That's how I feel about it.
Yeah, I think overall, like I said earlier, that I feel like this movie did prove its right to exist. You know, like it was worthwhile. Like it had a reason to exist. I feel like for the most part, our main characters they got some level of development. They got arcs. The story moved along. And I felt like they did a good job, kind of nodding to the original without making it too much or
Mhm.
relying on like nostalgia bait from the original.
I
Um,
agree. See, it wasn't too much. I think it was adapt for, like, a newer generation. I think if there was somebody, like,
yeah,
they're, like, 14, 15 watching it for the first time, and then they go back to the older one, I think it's, like, an interesting viewing
yeah,
experience. But overall, like, I'm not mad. I spent my little $20 out at the theater and got my popcorn and sat
yeah,
down, but if I was unemployed, I might have been a little angrier.
yeah. You're like,
You
I
know?
don't have the budget for this,
Right? I don't have the budget for this bullshit.
right?
But now I can
Yeah.
just go gallivant. But speaking of the theater and the previews, I wanna see Backrooms.
Oh, yeah, I'm really excited for Backrooms. I'm
'Cause
really
I didn't
excited.
even know about that shit, and I was like, "Wait, I wanna see this."
Mhm. I also when I sat down in my theater, they had a I don't know if you've ever seen Practical Magic before, but they had a trailer for Practical Magic 2, and I was like, "I didn't even know there was a Practical Magic 2 coming
I
out."
don't even know what practical magic is.
It's a witchy movie with Nicole Kidman and Sandra Bullock.
Oh, I like those 2 actresses, so I'm intrigued.
Yeah,
They draw me to the box office.
I
They draw
think
me to the box office.
I don't know the exact year that Practical Magic came out, but I know it was like a '90s movie.
Gotcha.
Um, but yeah, no, I didn't even know there was a Practical Magic 2, so I'm like,
Right.
"Okay."
Well, are Nicole and Sandra in there? Are they coming
Yeah,
back? Are they
they are
reprising their roles? Okay, I
reprising their
mean,
roles.
I like me some Sandy B, so I might be
Yeah,
there. And Nicole Kidman always trying to get somebody to go to the movies, so
yeah. You know, and I respect Nicole Kidman's dedication to keeping theaters alive. Um,
let's all go to the lobby.
"Lobby,
She needs to
let's
remix
all
that
go to the lobby."
and sneak in some alcohol.
Ooh, I'm down for that. Um,
Pour a little rum in your Coke. It's gonna be a good picture.
but yeah, overall, I would say this movie succeeded. I mean, it's definitely financially succeeding. I just wanted to point out that the first Devil Wears Prada back in 2006, it had a total box office return of $326.7 million.
Damn.
Um, versus The Devil Wears Prada 2, it's been out for less than 2 weeks, and it has generated in box office, as of today at least, $343.6 million.
Damn. Well, it's probably less adjusted for inflation, but it'll definitely catch up. So those are great
Yeah,
numbers. But I mean, it's what they expected. This was enough of an IP and strength, and also it was a
yeah,
good time. I feel like there's nothing else really out. So if you wanted, unless like there's
yeah,
Super Mario, but I feel like that's incremental enough. Like you would take your
yeah,
kids and then figure out like if you have kids, but you want to go see it, you would figure it out
right,
to go again. Like it's not like, oh, I want to see one movie, So
yeah. Well, I think
yeah,
just
good
like
old time.
I think this is like a highly anticipated sequel. I think the fact that this franchise has been inactive for 20
Yeah.
years, helps a lot because it
Yeah, and
really
it's
does
not
build.
like a franchise. It's not like people are overexposed by it too,
Right. Well, I think, yeah, it's not like this is like the 5th movie or something in the
right?
series.
It's not like it's the 3rd Scream movie in like 3 years,
Yeah, right.
or
Um,
the 27 Scooby Doo adaptation, which I will watch. But
ooh, well well, I think it's about time for a game that you came up with us for us to play before we wrap things up today.
which I do love a little activity. But I
Mhm.
was thinking of what celebrity cameos did we deserve in Devil Wears Prada 2? That's what I want to ask you and kind of get into. So,
Right.
who was somebody you would have liked to see, regardless if they fit or not, if they're in the fashion world, but, who deserved a quick little 2-second cameo?
So there are 2 that I would have wanted to see, like the 2 big ones. I
Mhm.
wanted to see Zendaya and I wanted to see
Yes.
Rihanna. Zendaya and Rihanna,
Ooh, I forgot about Rihanna. But right, especially got like one of the little Met Gala-esque things that they throw, like,
right?
Rihanna's the queen of that. But
When you
Rihanna gives
literally
me she was contacted but didn't check her email,
right. When Zendaya, you literally could have just had her, like, next to La Roche, and they could have just
right?
been kikiing together.
I like one of the events. I had Zendaya too, but I was like, Zendaya was filming so many fucking things last year. I'm sure
Right,
she wasn't free. 'Cause did
right,
she even do Fashion Week last year? That might have been it. I was like, because I think she was
right,
trying to be her little, she likes to pop out when she decides. She's very strategic about when she
right.
pops out, so
Meanwhile, Sydney Sweeney filmed a cameo for this movie and got cut. Oh,
I was gonna say, meanwhile, Sydney Sweeney will go to the opening of an envelope.
right? She tried to get in this movie, she tried it.
Oh, she really was. You're not even being shady. That really happened, right?
Yeah, no, Sydney Sweeney literally filmed a cameo
Mhm.
for this movie, and they cut her in post-production.
Well, yeah, I mean, there were enough celebrity cameos as is, so
Right, and we don't need MAGA Barbie in here dragging everything down.
right. Well, you know what? Instead of Karl Anthony Towns, we should have had my favorite basketball player and Angel Reese, but that's okay. I love me some Angel Reese.
I think we could have if we're having iconic lesbian athletes, we could have had Britney and her split.
Huh? Oh, Brittany. I forgot about the split. I think that she was
I
dropping
love
into
that
the
split
in the
video.
Connecticut Sun. I'm
I
glad you've even seen that.
I love that video.
You know what? They should have called BG too. They should have called BG too.
Right?
I would have been
Uh,
here for it.
that's
Who who
that's it,
who do you have
yeah,
next?
I don't I'll say, yeah, 'cause I said Zendaya and Rihanna. Um, I wouldn't have mind this is gonna be really stupid, but, as far as, like, maybe, like, a politician, I don't know why, but I feel like seeing Kamala Harris in this would have been kind of
I feel like there's a now that you say the moment you said politician, I knew you were gonna say her, but
yeah,
I could see her with a fresh blowout cackling with an
in a
outfit. Like
gown.
I could see it. Or Andy interviewing her, or Andy being like, "Remember when I interviewed Kamala Harris?" And it's like a little flashback. Like
Not the Family Guy cutaway gag. This is worse than that time I interviewed Kamala Harris.
Peter would have a cutaway for that too.
That's like this is worse than that time I interviewed Kamala Harris, and it's just Kamala Harris cackling instead of answering questions. Every question you ask her is just a cackle in response.
I guess he's still doing interviews, just getting pissed. You can hear him just getting pissed, trying to ask questions. Are Peter trying to do a debate against Kamala? I don't know.
Oh
That's
god.
a good one. I would have liked to see Kamala Harris too. I like to
Yeah.
believe she declined it. I like to believe she declined
She was like, "You know what? I'm gonna lay low right now."
it. I feel like my man Chet Hanks deserved to be there.
You
They
just
should have
want him at
found
everything.
maybe so. Doesn't everyone want their man to work?
Oh. Will you be watching Heated Rivalry season 2 if Chet Hanks is in it?
I would watch Heated Rivalry season 2 if Chet Hanks was in it. I am
Okay,
confirming.
okay, okay. Well,
And I might send some hate mail to his male co-lead because no, I
oh
wouldn't do
wow.
that, but
Okay, parasocial. We're going back to your Tumblr days.
oh, not the high school throwback.
Ooh,
Well, and you know what? While we're there, Octavia Spencer, she can show up too.
okay. I like that. Ooh, you know what? I think I would like Angela Oakley.
You know what? You're doing too much. You're
I
doing too much.
or
But
the
you know
entire
what? You know what Real Housewife would be there because she bought her way in? Well, before she left her husband, Bronwyn
oh,
Newport. Because she was
oh,
at every one of these bougie events somehow.
that's
I'm like,
true.
girl, how much you pay for a ticket to that? Because you was not that famous.
I mean, they could have just included the whole cast of the city just to make a joke
That's true.
about people who probably shouldn't be there that have bought their way in.
And they would pay on the Bronwyn Newport.
Yeah.
They
I
better not do Jennifer Tilly like that though. Jennifer Tilly deserves better.
Oh, Jennifer Tilly could be there because she actually is, like, in the
Right?
fashion circles and whatnot.
That's true. That dress she wore to the reunion with her own fucking face.
Yeah,
Iconic. She should have
yeah.
wore that in the cameo.
That would have been iconic. But yeah, I mean, those are the main ones I can think of that I would want there.
No, same. I mean, I don't also even know the fashion world enough to give fashion relevant cameos, but that's who I
I'm
would have wanted to see.
I'm
Honestly, it would have been funny if they threw an Anna Wintour somehow.
Oh, that would have been funny. Well, especially because I mean, like, Anna Wintour, I know she was pissed when the first movie come out, but over the years, she's kind of come around to it, and she kind of, like, is
Okay,
in on the joke.
that's good. I don't think Diana Ross ever came around on Dreamgirls, so at least somebody's over
I say I
it.
am glad as far as, like, cameos that we didn't get. I'm glad that none of the Kardashians snuck their way into this, slithered in.
Right? That's true. Even though Kendall was mentioned, but she did not have an appearance.
Yeah, I'm glad that Kim didn't find a way to slither her way into this production.
Do you think she tried? Do you think she
Oh,
tried?
I'm sure she did. Oh, she definitely she was definitely trying to get a she was definitely trying to get a scene wearing something that she got from a fucking deceased person, probably one of JonBenet Ramsey's wigs or something, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm
No,
sure.
that's too much. That's too much.
That is too much, but I said it.
They should have had Miranda do a line about "Don't let Kim Kardashian in my closet." That would
Well,
have
that
been
if I'd not
funny.
they coulda slipped it in because there was that part in the meeting where she said something about she was joking about how she was gonna off herself,
Oh, yeah.
and Amari was like, "You can't joke about that," and she's like, "Well, I'm not say I didn't say I was gonna kill someone else yet."
Right? She just threw it right there. "Don't let that bitch in my closet."
Yeah, do not let Kim Kardashian wear any of my my fits.
Any of my archival pieces. I think Miranda would say archival pieces. She wouldn't say
Do
outfits.
not let that grave robber up in there.
Well, and that's why Lucy Liu got the cameo that she probably wanted.
Ugh,
I wonder
I
if how they landed on Lucy Liu, if they were just like, "Lucy fucking Liu," and then she agreed, like
I'm
it's
sure it
giving
was.
like they offered it, they had Lucy Liu in mind, and she said yes.
Yeah.
That's what it's giving
I'm
to me.
I'm sure because I mean, I feel like in my mind, the thing with Lucy Liu, especially at this point, in my mind, A, she does not audition for things, she gets offered
That's
roles.
true.
And B, I feel like anything she's in, she is the first choice. I don't think Lucy Liu gets a role because somebody else said no.
That's true. Maybe for Charlie's Angels, because they wanted to be all white, but somebody was like, "You know what? Let's mix it up," because it was
Yeah.
2000. But nowadays, yeah.
Yeah.
And I feel like Lucy Liu just still has, like, star power and verve to her name. It's like
Yeah.
it's a star power that's, like, really doesn't really exist anymore, that Lucy
Right.
Liu still has. And
Yeah.
people still wanna see her in things. At least I do.
Oh, me too. I'm very excited. As soon as I saw Lucy Liu, I knew you were gonna be happy. I was like, "Oh, Aiden can die happy."
I do appreciate me some Lucy Liu, along
Yeah,
with
'cause
Takara Jones, who I've yet
yeah,
to mention in this
I'll
episode, and I feel
oh,
obligated to.
well, yeah, I mean, she is a fixture on the podcast, but, yeah, because I mean, I love Lucy Liu, but I know you, like, love Lucy Liu.
I appreciate me some Lucy Liu. Not
Yeah.
enough to watch Elementary, but enough. I'll
Did you
be
watch
honest.
her season of Why Women Kill?
I started it.
She was good in
That
that.
was one of those shows you made me start, I never finished. I watched that fucking Santa Claus movie for her with the fucking rock and the talking polar bear. So the red
Yeah.
one. So I tuned in for some Lucy Liu
And
pictures.
we also watched her Sex and the City episode.
We did. And I
Um,
think that no, if you liked us a yapping and rambling, want more movie reviews, yapping, rambling, reality TV show reviews, or if you just like interracial podcast duos, please sure to rate and review, subscribe so we are right up on your feed. Follow us on social media at On a Real Note Pod on all social media platforms. But we are trying to be most active on the Instagram. And you know what? Give us a follow on our personal accounts too. Because our management made us turn them public. So
exactly, and, so I'm curious, do you think, like, a lot of our viewers and listeners are in LA?
I'm sure there's some.
Well, I mean, you always say they love interracial over there.
I mean, do you not look around? Interracial capital of the world, to me, of the country at least.
I see what I see in Runyon Canyon, yeah. I see what I see.
And I feel like we get more couple accusations in LA than anywhere else.
Mhm. Yeah, that New
G-
York Fashion
g-
Week. Um, y'all have a wonderful rest of your week. I hope that you too can experience the joy of an interracial friendship.
Oh,
Um,
wow. And if you are a mother, happy belated Mother's Day,
yeah, happy belated Mother's Day. And if you're not a mother, well, I hope you did something nice for a lady in your life.
right? And if you don't
But
like your mother, rate us 5 stars in her against her, I guess. I don't know.
yeah, yes, find us on Cameo and we'll rant about her for you.
Who
Um,
is not on Cameo.
we should be though, but y'all have a wonderful day, and keep that shit on a real note.